All right, so we're going to look at a very basic shopping conversation. So, some questions and answers that you might have between you and a salesperson when you are shopping for your school supplies. So, first of all, our verb to look for is chercher. Chercher. Note that the for is already in this verb. So when we conjugate it, we want to say I'm looking for. We just say je cherche. We don't have to include any other word for the for because it's already part of the verb chercher. So for example, if we want to say I'm looking for a backpack, all you have to do is put the word backpack after je cherche. Je cherche un sac à dos. Your turn to practice. Question number 1. How would you tell me that you are looking for the pictured item? The seller's response. So, first of all, before we start looking at what they're going to say, we need to look at the word for seller. So, just like in English, when we have a salesman and a saleswoman, okay, we have two different words in French based upon the gender of the person. And they're both based off of the verb vendre, V-E-N-D-R-E, which meant to sell. So just like in English, a seller is a person who sells. Same thing in French. We're going to take the stem of that verb, so in this case, vend, V-E-N-D, and we're going to add on the ending E-U-R for a guy or E-U-S-E for a girl. Un vendeur ou une vendeuse. So your vendeur or vendeuse might ask one of two questions. So they could ask you in what color, de quelle couleur, or they could give you some options. Okay, so they might ask, do you prefer, tu préfères. Remember that when they're giving you an option, we typically don't say the noun that we're discussing more than once. And in fact, if you started this conversation by saying, for example, je cherche un sac à dos, they might not even say the word backpack at all, just like in English. Oh, I'm looking for a backpack. Do you prefer the red one or the blue one? Same thing in French. Tu préfères le sac à dos rouge ou le bleu? Or if you already said, je cherche un sac à dos, tu préfères le rouge ou le bleu? As long as it's already been stated once, we don't ever have to say the noun again until we need it for clarity. When we start talking about a different noun, then we're going to start adding our nouns back in so that it's pretty obvious which one of what things it is we're talking about. So for questions 2 and 3, you're going to write a short conversation about shopping for this brand newly pictured item. So in section number 2, you're going to write a seller that the question might ask you about these items. And question number 3 will be your response to whatever the seller asked you about in number 2. When we are discussing price, okay, you want to ask, how much is it? Okay, this could obviously only be used as a continuation of a conversation. Okay, so if we're already talking about backpacks, then we say, oh, well, how much is it? C'est combien? C'est combien? When we want to specify what it is we're talking about, then we'll use one of our other two options where we're saying how much is such and such a thing we're talking about. You have two options. You can either say the noun that you're discussing first and then follow up with c'est combien, Or you can say il or elle et combien, and then whatever it is you're talking about. When we are using this option, we're going to choose il or elle to match the gender of the item being discussed. So for example, if we want to ask how much is the black pen, since pen is a masculine word, our sentence will begin with il. Il est combien le stylo noir? We could use that exact same sentence in our first option and say le stylo noir, c'est combien? If you didn't want to have to deal with the il or the elle. We can do the exact same thing with the ones that we've been using, so such as saying how much is the red one, just by saying le or la and then the color that we're discussing. So for example, le rouge, c'est combien? The red one, how much is it? Or, using our other option, il est combien le rouge? There, the il and elle should be obvious based upon the article that shows up in front of our adjective. So, question number 4. Write a sentence asking the seller how much this pictured item might cost. And then finally, to discuss the price, to answer. Okay, we have two ways to say it's. We can say say, so for example, say 20 euros. Okay. Or we can use il or elle, et a. So again, the il or the elle is, it has to match whatever the gender of the item we're talking about is. Okay, so if we're still talking about backpacks, we would say il et a, and then whatever the price is. Remember that when we're discussing price, we can't just say a number. Okay, we can't say it's 20. Okay, we'd have to say it's $20. Or in France, it would be 20 euros. The nice part is that both of these words are cognates. Most currencies are. We just have to make sure that we say them with an accent. So for example, we couldn't say c'est $20. We'd say c'est $20. Same thing with euros. C'est 20 euros. So for example, if we're saying it's 25 euros, c'est 25 euros. Another important thing to be aware of when we're talking about prices is that in France, and in fact in most of Europe, periods and commas work the exact opposite way that they do here in the United States. So whenever we would write a period to separate our dollars and our cents, in French that's going to use a comma. Similarly, if we were going to be talking about something that cost $1,000, we would write 1, 000 to denotate 1,000, and then a period 00 to say 0 cents. In France, we would say 1 period 3 zeros, comma 00. They work the exact opposite ways. We also put our dollar or euro sign on opposite sides of the number. So we typically put the dollar sign in front here in the United States, but the euro sign always goes after the number in France and in fact in much of Europe. This is because it's mirroring the statement it's 25 euros. We don't say it's $25. Okay? So it makes more sense to them and frankly to a lot of people to put the symbol for whatever currency we're talking about at the end of the number. So, question number 5. What would a seller tell you, if you asked how much this item costs? What would they tell you?